Hey, summer team. So, guys, thanks so much for those of you who have participated in this 1 month post. I'm going to try and summarize as best I can the common sentiment that I've been hearing across the different groups. I'm gonna summarize it also below in text because I have a feeling video is gonna be very, very long. So if you want to hear me speak and it bores you, that's totally cool. No, I won't take it personally. But yeah, okay. So I think you guys are all understanding now how weight management works, how weight gain works, how weight loss works. It's really based on how much you eat. And we need to stay in what is called a caloric or calorie deficit in order to lose weight. The source of the food doesn't really matter. I mean, for health, yes, you want to focus on good things, but you could still eat quote unquote crap, which I don't like to label anyways, and still lose weight. It's as long as you stay under your deficit, okay? Um, but a lot of us didn't know that or how to do that, and that's why we have different tools. Um, and I wanted to show you guys how to do that. So the very first part of this program is very technical. So this is what I said at the very beginning. It's very technical. We're going to be using a lot of numbers and all these tools to help you guys understand about how you eat and how much you eat. Okay, so it's like people who, for example, who get speeding tickets and they don't believe they're speeding. Well, maybe you should look at your speedometer a bit more to really understand how fast you're going. Okay, and then once you get used to that, you don't have to look at your speedometer. You kind of trained yourself, okay, stay under the speed limit, right? You get a feel for it. But before that, you didn't know. So what? Because you're not looking at the speed limit and you're getting tickets. And then even though you have tools, so I know some of you were tracking before this program saying, yeah, I'm only on 1,000 calories, I can't lose weight. But a tool is meaningless unless you know how to use it. It's like having a bunch of ladders and you want to see above the fence over here, but you're stacking the ladders horizontally. You have the tools, but you don't know how to use it. So if you plop it vertically, all you need is one tool and you're good, right? Same thing with someone who has winter tires. They have winter tires, they think they're invincible and they can drive as fast as they want. But what happens? They end up crashing. So the tool itself is only useful if the person knows how to use the tool. And that's why I needed you guys to show up every single day so I could scrutinize exactly what you're doing, right? And I caught so many mistakes with the oils, the peanut butters, all that type of stuff. But I think you guys all understand that now. So you guys are more accountable, you're portioning correctly, you're using your tools correctly like the scale. So awesome stuff, all right? So now what we want to do is start moving towards mindful eating. So what does that mean? It means start to think intuitively about the food you're about to eat and understanding how much it's going to cost you in terms of calories. This is like the very easy stuff. And then also how it makes you feel, how this type of food is going to sustain you. All these types of things go into mindful eating. I tried to introduce a bit of it with the psychology of eating video, right? Just understanding your environment, why you eat. All these types of things all roll into that. And many of you have mentioned that when I asked that question, how can you do this long term? Like, I want this to be a lifestyle for you. So a lot of you have mentioned that you don't want to track long term. You don't want to be using a scale and entering MyFitnessPal, and that's completely cool. And I 100% agree with you. When I am not on this program, when I'm not doing this with you guys, if I'm on vacation or I'm away, I don't track at all. I don't bring my weigh scale with me. I don't weigh anything. But it's because I've built a internal database and I've memorized a lot of food because I've been doing it for so long. So I really understand roughly how food is. Like when I look at something, I can kind of guess what it is. It won't be exact, but I have a ballpark. But that comes with practice and just really looking at all you guys' food and all the clients' foods for over the years. So when I look at your food right now, I don't look at the numbers right away. I take a ballpark guess in my head, just looking at whatever's there, if it's oily, this and that, and then if it's off by like 100 or so, then I will call you on it and I'll say, you know what, maybe you got to butt up. Or on the rare occasion, I'm like, maybe you're overestimating a little too much. Bring it down, okay? But that comes with a lot of practice. So that's what I want you guys to do now. If you don't want to track, and I agree with you again, long term, usually most people don't want to track, then you need to start building this database in your head. So what I want you to do, and I gave you guys an example the other day, is before you just mindlessly enter something in the tool, before you just throw it on the weigh scale, really think about it, because you guys have been doing this a while now, and some of you have been using the same items. You don't have to always weigh it or just enter it mindlessly. Think about it like, okay, I've had this so many times now. This is gonna cost me X amount of calories and about this much protein, right? So start doing that with everything you do. Take a ballpark. It doesn't matter if you don't get it right. You're not gonna get it right, especially the first few times or even the first month. It doesn't matter. But the more you do it consistently and practice it and start teaching yourself to eyeball, then you'll get better at it. Okay, so that's all I want you to do. Just start making this mental database of food, right? So I have that too with all the non-nutrient dense foods when I go, like chicken wings. Each chicken wing is about 100. A slice of pizza is 200 to 300. A burger is going to be 1,000. A bowl of fries is going to be 500. A bowl of rice is going to be 200. A pint of beer is going to be 200. A glass of wine is 150 to 200. You see, I'm just rhyming this off. It's because it's all in my head. So when I look at something, I know roughly that's what it's going to cost me. So you guys got to start doing the same thing. Then if you encounter a food item that you're not sure of, then just overestimate. So that's what I do. If I see like a small bit of fries, I'm overestimating it to large. I don't go to the smallest amount, especially when you're eating out. Never go lower than what you think. Always go over. So that's what I would encourage you guys all to do. And then, you know, some items are going to be harder to estimate. Like for me, I can never get seeds or nuts right. I'm always underestimating it, like in my hand, and I'm thinking it's only like 100 calories, but it's going to be way more always. So these are the things that, you know, you have to accept. If you're not good at it, then you may need to use a scale or just really overestimate those things. But in general, the less calorie dense the food is, the easier it is to make guesstimates or eyeball. So as an example, think of spinach. 1 cup of spinach is what, like 10 calories or 15 calories. If you overestimate or if you underestimate and give yourself 2 calories by accident for whatever reason, it's only going to cost you another 15 or 10 calories. So 20, 30 calories. It's not a big deal in the big picture. But if you do that with a heaping spoon of peanut butter, instead of 1 tablespoon, you're putting 2, that's 90 calories. A bit more oil, that's another 100 calories. A cup of fries is going to be 500 calories. So you see how these calorie dense items can stack up. So if you keep your items very simple and not so calorie dense, like the lean proteins, a lot of the veggies and all that type of stuff, that's very easy to eyeball, and there's lots of leeway for mistakes, so you don't have to get it so perfect. Whereas if you eat a lot of calorie dense foods, even healthy calorie dense food, like your avocados, your nuts, seeds, your oils, your bananas, quinoa, lentils, all that type of stuff, that can be a little bit trickier. Okay, so those are the caveats if you want to learn how to track and not to track. If you don't want to learn how not to track or rely on the tools, then you got to start probably simplifying your items for now. Okay, like very nutrient dense, low calorie foods, and it makes it easier to calculate in your head. I'll give you some meal templates below just so you get an example of how simple meals can be used, and just kind of looking at this graphical representation, it will make it easier for you. So this is not to discourage you from tracking. If you truly enjoy tracking, and some people do, there's some people who've done this program 3 years ago and they still track every single day. More power to you. Go for it. Okay? My question always is, whatever you're doing today, can you do it tomorrow, next week, next month, in a year, in 5 years? If the answer is no, then something's got to change. Okay? So always think about that. There are some caveats though. Okay? Always. There's always a but. If you like to eat out often, if you like to make complex recipes, then there's a high likelihood you will need to track those types of things if you want to stay on top of your goals. Okay, unless you have a awesome memory like Rain Man or that dude from The Hangover who could calculate stuff in his head when he's in Vegas, then you're good. But I'm not great like that. So if I go out a lot and do these types of things, then I'll likely have to track, especially if I eat multiple times a day. It's gonna be too hard to keep in my head. Okay, so these are the things you just gotta think about. Okay, so if you use a lot of complex recipes like making exotic meals, or you like to eat out a lot, then it's gonna be very hard to do this in your head, and it's gonna be really easy to overeat. So you may have to track. Okay, but if you keep things simple, it's much easier. And again, The good thing is you have this tool, you have this knowledge. So even if you don't track for a long time and then maybe for whatever reason you go on vacation like me and you overeat and gain 10 pounds, I've done that before, and you want to start losing weight more predictably, then jump back on the tool for a month and you'll see that you can easily get back on track. So just know the caveats. Whether you, if you don't want to track, then you're gonna have to simplify and be more in control of your meals. If you like to eat out a lot and make very complex dishes, then you will likely have to track. Yeah, when we talk about simple meals, the problem is many of you have mentioned that you get bored of the food, right? So these are again another trade-off. If you like to have more fun and more variety, then it's going to be a little bit more complicated. But here's what you could do also with these simple meals. You could learn to spice it up or add variety. So like for me, I add some guacamole or mango salsa or a little bit of the quinoa sauces and stuff like that. Very low calorie, more nutrient dense. It's more filling than say oils or butters or these calorie dense dressings, right? So you could do stuff like that. There's also another company called flavorgod.com. I'll put it below in the text. And they have different types of spices you can put, and these are what bodybuilders use because they eat the same types of food, so they get really, really bored. So this company actually produced a nice spice to add to their protein, so that it's very interesting. It's very low calories, healthy. The guy's very conscious about all that, so you could check that out as well. Don't forget to look at what your team's doing. Okay, some of you are living in silos. You're not looking at what your teammates are doing, and there's some crazy awesome stuff that they're doing. There's some good meals and some good recipes that they're using. Feel free to ask them. Okay, remember, we are in this together. Don't be afraid. Especially our ladies. Usually our ladies, not the dance team, but our ladies summer group, normally the ladies are very talkative and like to engage, but for some reason this group is not. You guys aren't really engaging. So I encourage you to look at what your peers are doing and ask them, oh, where did you get that? Oh, how do you like this item? How does that make you full? Support your team, guys. This is how we're gonna get better together, and it's gonna be more fun, believe me. Okay, so make sure you look at what they're doing, get some ideas, and see how that works for you. Okay, look at the Venn diagram again in the macros post. There's so many ideas there for protein in case you're lacking that that I noticed. Okay, also, you know, feel inclined to share your groceries on that shopping post. Okay, like I always share you what I get from Costco, but you might not like what I get because it can be boring, right? My stuff can be more boring than watching paint dry. So please, guys, post your groceries, what you get, into that shopping post and share away, man, so all of us can learn. And lastly, if you don't like that, or if you want even more input, don't forget we have a Mighty Transformation community group. I invited you guys all. I posted a link way back in the beginning. I will post it again so that you guys can join. Remember, it's not mandatory, but there's about 125 people in there right now, and we have a meal thread or meal post prep thread right now. There's a lot of plant-based options that you can go in and ask people who've been on this program and have been successful. And this is part of, you know, the resource when I was saying you have group support. So use it. Okay, you don't have to post there every day like here. Just ask your question, get what you need, and get out. Like, don't leave, but just keep it there. But I mean, you don't have to look at it every single day if that's what you're worried about. Use it as a resource, just like you're Googling something, but instead you're going to be in a network with Mighty Transformation people who have done this program, who understand what your struggles are and who understand your needs. So who better to help you than them? All right, so make sure you join that. If you want more recipes, there's stuff on exercise there, whatever, right? So join it. I encourage you guys, and then ask away. If you need any help, I can facilitate anything and we can make it happen. So guys, before we end, start thinking about your food. Really hone in on those things that are working for you and see why, right? Especially a lot of you are mentioning that the protein is working for you early in the morning, which is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. If you're not doing that, I'm telling you, give it a try and see how it works, okay? Start thinking proactively. Look at your weekly calorie stats and see where most of your calories are dominating, right? If breakfast is your most important meal and you like to eat a big breakfast, go ahead. But make sure you could sustain yourself for the rest of the day, so by dinner time you're not hungry as hell and snacking on everything. So get your protein in there, okay? Make sure you're setting yourself up for success. If lunch is your favorite meal and you like to go out with your colleagues, then make sure you don't overeat on breakfast, and also that you have enough room for dinner, okay? Because you might have a big lunch and then you eat all your calories and you got like such a small tiny window for dinner, you're gonna end up starving, or trying to use willpower to stop. Never works. Okay, so start thinking proactively. If you have a big dinner or a big party, then what can you do at lunch and breakfast to tweak that down? You know, get your protein in so you stay full on lower calories. So then you have a lot of wiggle room to play at night. Okay, guys, this is all I want you guys to do. Think of it like financial planning. You want to buy a house? You want to buy a car? You want to go on vacation? Well, what do? You gotta save. You gotta make some compromises. Unless you're filthy rich. For most of us, well, I don't know everyone's financial situation, but for mine, I can't just spend like recklessly. I gotta save. And the same thing with food, right? You gotta really understand how much you're eating, use the tools that are available, start thinking proactively instead of reactively, so that you could make things fit for your goal, right? So like some of you are doing awesome, like you're getting a lot of your nutrient dense meals earlier on, high protein, and then you have like 500 to 1,000 calories left at night, so you could have whatever you want guilt free. And this is really what it's all about, guys. So there's just a few technical topics left on this program. We're going to talk about something like calorie cycling, carb cycling. We're going to talk about differentiating your good foods and bad foods and how you should balance that for overall health. You know, clean versus junk, or whatever people want to call it. And then, you know, I'm going to really start pushing you guys towards mindful eating. Maybe less reliance on the tools. Start asking you things on how can you make this work for your lifestyle? Is this something you could do long term? All types of stuff like that. But I want you guys to start thinking about that now for your success now and beyond the 12 weeks of this program. Okay, so I knew this was going to be a long ass video, but hopefully the text will summarize it. And yeah, just give me a like here so I know that you've actually read it. You don't have to say you watched it, but at least read it and understood it. And if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, guys, take care.